What's going on? What's going on, y'all? We are back again. Told y'all we was gonna be consistent even in the off season. We are back again with another episode of Lions 411. Of course, it's your boy King Keith. Y'all can follow me underscore Dr. King's Dream, Instagram, Twitter, all those different kind of things. CB will tell y'all where y'all can follow us as a collective. But yeah, feel free to check me out on any of those platforms at any point in time. But yeah, welcome back. Again, we're gonna keep giving y'all stuff even throughout the off season, anything even remotely interesting going on, we're gonna give y'all something to be able to talk about. So I'm gonna pass it over to my co-host CB.
All right. What up, world? It's your girl CB. You can check me out on Instagram at CB Love That for ya. You can check us out on Lions 411 Podcasts on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, YouTube now. It is on YouTube, so you can check us out. We are back after a couple weeks. You know, we had to celebrate. We got our taxes. Like, no, I'm just playing. Listen. We got our taxes. We got too excited, man. We ain't seen you in a couple weeks. We ain't seen you since February 18th. But yeah, we got a couple things that we want to kind of get started. What do we want to talk? Rumors? Want to do rumors?
Yeah, it's the hot topic. And I think we should give the people what they want to hear about first and foremost. So
Cause
um
y'all gonna ask.
yeah. So CB, let them know some of there's a few different things swirling on about the Lions. They haven't done anything, but there are a few different things swirling around. So what's some interesting things that are going on that's attached to the Lions name?
Okay, so the former cornerback Darius Slay, known as Big Play Slay, he played 7 seasons with Detroit Lions before he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2020 for a Faygo Pop and a sandwich. He was traded for a couple picks, I believe 5th round picks, nothing really too crazy. But they just won the Super Bowl. Cornerback Darius Slay, but they are now releasing him. The Eagles are deciding to release him. I believe he wants to play another year. He did say he wants to play another year. They are reporting that he wasn't exactly surprised. I mean, I was kind of surprised, I'll be honest. So obviously the big thing, King Keith, should the Lions pursue Darius Slay? He played 7 seasons with us. Should we pursue Darius Slay?
I say maybe. Very much a maybe. I'm a big fan of Darius Slay. He was probably at least one of my top 3 to 5 players. I love watching DB's work specifically. And seeing him grow as a Lion into an All-Pro player was huge. It was great. And he's a really big part of this franchise's success, I feel like, for that period of time. But you got to look at the fit. I mean, obviously, it'd be a short-term deal. Darius Slay is 34 years old. That doesn't limit necessarily his ability to play because clearly, the Eagles had the best defense in the league last year, and he contributed pretty heavily to that. So clearly, there's still something left in the tank. Clearly, he's still
49 tackles last season.
Yeah, like he can still play football. He can still get down. So this isn't a whole like he's completely washed, he's over the hill kind of thing. There's still something definitely left there. But you also got to consider again the scheme fit. How does a player fit? Darius Slay, I think, can play man. Definitely more of like a boundary guy, which I guess Carlton Davis was a similar corner, similar size, similar length, all those kind of things. So I mean, if they're not looking to bring Carlton Davis back, or maybe if he comes back if Slay is cheaper than Carlton Davis on a shorter term deal or something like that, I'm here for it. I can't say he's a perfect scheme fit because I don't think he's like a true man guy. And the Lions really do run like a lot of man to man coverage. And I think that the Eagles kind of run a blend, very much a lot of zone, just because they had such a good pass rush, obviously. So those guys get home in time. The Lions need to improve their pass rush clearly during the offseason. So I can't say it's a perfect one-to-one scheme fit, but I'd be here for it. I think that he contribute. I think that he'd be solid. It just depends on the cost, and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I think I probably like the idea of bringing Carlton Davis back a little bit more. I think that Darius Slay kind of fits the nostalgia piece a little bit. But I think that Carlton Davis maybe fits exactly what you may need from a player more than Darius Slay does. But Carlton Davis might be really pricey. He might be. So I get it.
But yeah, so the Lions are looking, well, reportedly, the Lions are looking to resign Carlton Davis. I'll be honest, I was at I was at work when this broke, sorry. At first, I was like, we should pursue him. We should pursue him. But then thinking about it, I don't know, because obviously, like you said, the Carlton Davis thing, and Carlton Davis is about 27. More that he shut down some nice receivers, veteran, but then Slay is 34, looking to play one more year. I don't know if he's lost a step. Obviously, he's not as young as maybe, the 24, 25-year-olds, I believe, our average age, Detroit Lions wise, is, I believe, like 25, 26. So, like you said, it'll be a nostalgia thing. It'll be maybe a veteran minimum. Maybe he could, mentor the young QBs now. I mean the corners now. So maybe I think we should have some talks with him, bring him back, have him retire as a Lion. I mean, he played 7 years here, so I'm here for it. I think we should, if the money's right. I think we should.
Yeah, agreed. I again, I agree with that, but I also have to consider the fact that the Lions got young corners that need minutes. Like, they got guys that need to play. Terrion Arnold, obviously, he wasn't perfect last year, but he showed some signs. He's a guy that needs to play. Rakestraw, at some point, you want to see him get on the field and be able to play. Amik Robertson earned his spot. A guy that definitely should be in the rotation as well. You can't throw a Darius Slay and a Carlton Davis in here. I mean, maybe the guys do get injured, whatever. If you want to go after both guys, feel free to do so. But I think it could just be a lot. I think that there may be other places that Darius Slay could be considering, teams that maybe are a better scheme fit, teams that maybe are still in contention. Maybe Darius Slay wants to play in a warmer weather climate. Like, you never know. He's from the South, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to play for a team that maybe has warmer weather or is still in contention or things like that. But obviously the Lions are somewhere that he probably would be like, if they call, I'm taking that call for sure. So I don't know.
I think we're going to call him. I think we're going to have a conversation with him. Now, if we're going to get him, I don't know, but the Lions going to have a conversation with him.
You got to see what is going for, because there may be a team that's willing to sell out a lot, but if not, like if he comes on just a really low price deal, like I feel like to even have him in the corner room as a guy that can teach guys, let alone a guy that's playing, but just a guy that can teach guys. Darius Slay was really good at getting interceptions, at making plays on the ball, something the Lions DBs could stand to use some improvement with. So there are things that he can help out with. So I'm here for it, but also I don't think it's this slam dunk kind of thing that a lot of people want to make it seem where it has to happen. It doesn't have to have to happen. It will be nice, We always want our legends to come home. Some people are like, "Oh, Calvin Johnson should come out of retirement. Oh, we should go back and get Matthew Stafford if the Rams let him go."
No, that ain't happening.
People ain't happening. People want the nostalgia play back. When Ndamukong Suh was available, people were like, "Oh, maybe we go out and get him like last minute." Like, everybody wants that to happen. I think this might be the most realistic scenario, but it still doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. So moving on to another rumor. The Lions reportedly are still, I wouldn't say pursuing, but they are still playing with the idea of Browns player Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I saw a report too on Twitter, which take with a grain of salt, obviously just being on social media, but somebody said that the Lions are the most engaged with those talks and have been since the trade deadline during the season, which I found pretty interesting. Because a lot of us wanted to see the Lions try and upgrade, and it seems like they did. They did with Zadarius Smith, but really wanted to with Myles Garrett, which really would have helped put them over the top. I mean, I feel the same way as the past couple of weeks. Like, I'm not big on this whole give up all this stuff for this guy. I get it. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl predominantly based off of their defense and their defensive line in particular. But the Lions can build that in other ways. They can. They already got really strong guys on the interior. They have an elite level guy on the outside in Aidan Hutchinson. But, if you want to get another elite level guy, I get it. But again, it's about the price. Brad Holmes is willing to be aggressive. He's been aggressive before, but we can't be like, oh, well, you got to sell out, or you got to do this, and the Lions aren't committed. Like, clearly they're committed. We just got to see exactly what plan they're going with. Because I think that they've put out there a good enough team to be able to trust and be like, hey, they're willing to put the best product out there on the field. Let them work. So whatever they choose to do, I'm here for it. But I don't know. I think that Myles Garrett, his price looks like a lot. It looks like a lot, and it should be. It should be. He's a fantastic player. He's a top 5 player in the league.
Okay, right. I put this as a poll. Should the Lions pursue a big name defensive player like Myles Garrett? And about 79% of people said yes, which I'm a little shocked. I'm still a little antsy about that because, like you said, what are we giving up? What are we giving up? I think that Brad Holmes can be aggressive during the draft. We can trade up, which I think that's probably going to happen. I believe we have the 28th pick, I want to say. I think we could trade up. I think he can get that talent in the draft. So, but if we do get Myles Garrett, I mean, I'm here for it too. But if we get Myles Garrett, Keith, this has got to be the run. This has got to be the run. If we get Myles Garrett, we got Aiden Hutchinson, we got our offense. Our offense was the highest scoring offense. They averaged 33 points. This got to be the run for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it would make them the prohibitive favorites, and it would make them, I don't want to say a juggernaut, but like, they would be pretty heavily, I'd say, the favorites on paper. I mean, we still
over the Eagles?
If they got Myles Garrett, yeah, they would be a better team on paper, absolutely.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, they on paper, again, I think they were a better team than the Eagles on paper last year, but Aiden Hutchinson getting hurt kind of screwed with that a little bit. If you get Hutchinson back and you get Myles Garrett, yeah, that puts you over the top. Like, you can't really block both of those guys and Lee McNeil and a bunch of the other guys on the interior as well. I don't know how you beat the Lions at that point. I really don't. Teams were struggling with the Lions when they did have Aiden Hutchinson. So if you have Hutchinson and Myles Garrett, I don't really know what you do to beat the Lions. They lost 2 games in the regular season last year without Hutchinson for most of the year. I don't know how you beat them with Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson. They probably find a way to lose 1 game, but like, they'd be really hard to beat.
So 16-1, you projected if we were to get Myles Garrett in the perfect world. 16-1.
I don't know. See, I don't want to make predictions that far away. I'm just saying, if you're 15-2 without either of those guys for most of the season, I mean, again, new coaches, all that kind of stuff. Stuff could go wrong. You know, guys could have issues, gelling, getting together, whatever. I just don't know how you beat that Lions team if they have both of those guys. So I get why people are interested, but
I get why people are interested. But
what if
we get Myles Garrett, we got to be at least deep in the playoffs. I'm not talking first round exit. I'm not talking second round exit. We need to be at the NFC Championship. We need to be at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because I mean, at that point, what's the excuse?
Got to be the run.
Outside of an injury to somebody like Jared Goff, there'd be no excuse. Like,
that's what I'm saying. What more can we do if we were to get Myles Garrett and we still don't win the Super Bowl? What more can we do?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. So that's why I get why people are interested, because that could put the Lions over the top. But I just don't necessarily believe in selling the future for one guy either. So, and plus, there's no indication that Cleveland is willing to give him up either. We do not know that.
And their GM and them are saying they don't look to trade him.
Yeah, like you'll probably have to come with dang near all your first round picks till 2030 to get him at this point. It's like, because then you got to pay him too. And then it's like, okay, well, how much can you pay everybody else? At that point, if you have to pay Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson with the money you're already paying everybody else, you're going to lose one of them safeties. Kirby Joseph or Brian Brett's going to be gone eventually. You're going to lose one of the wide receivers. You're not going to be able to keep Amon-Ra for $30+ million, and J-Mo, who's probably going to cost a lot at this point after having that season last year. Like, certain guys we're not going to be able to keep everybody.
And wait a minute, Anzalone will be on his last year of a deal.
Yeah.
You don't want to get paid too.
It's a lot of guys, but I'm talking these young guys, like, Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph might both be top 5 safeties. Like, top 5 safeties are going for $15 to $17 million a year. J-Mo pushing top 15, top 20 wide receiver. Them guys is going for almost $20 million a year. Like, you know, you gonna have to pay these guys eventually. They own their rookie contract still. You can kind of still afford them, but Sam Laporta, a guy you're gonna have to pay. Like,
Anzalone.
Panay Sewell contract gonna kick in at some point. Like St.
Yep.
Brown contract really hasn't gotten deep yet. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, though running backs usually don't get to that second contract, he clearly looks a little bit more special than a typical running back. He might get to that second contract. So
I think he will.
yeah, exactly. And at that point, he even as a running back gonna cost 14, $16 million a year, which is a lot to pay for a running back nowadays. So it's iffy. It's really iffy to give that up.
It's
But
definitely iffy because we're gonna have to give up everything but the kitchen sink to
yeah,
get him.
I trust Brad Holmes. I do. But I don't think they do that. I don't. I think they rock with Aiden Hutchinson and Zadarius Smith, and I think they go get somebody in the first round of the draft, which seems to be lining up pretty well for an edge rusher to fall to late in the first round. So,
Which brings us to the draft. Smooth pivot.
yeah. So
Smooth operator.
yeah, I'm a excuse my voice, my sinuses are really bad. I'm a really big draft guy. I haven't jumped fully in yet. But I have been looking at some of the numbers from the combine and things like that. Some of the people that are projected to the Lions. It's not the highest like top of the draft, especially with like the quarterbacks. I like Cam Ward. Cam Ward's interesting. I think Shador Sanders would be good if he goes to the right team, but like obviously that's not what the Lions were looking for.
Who do you think gonna be first? I think
First-
Cam Ward.
First pick, I don't even know if Cam Ward is going to be the first pick. It might be Abdul Carter from Penn State, but it looks like what the New York teams do want to trade up to number 1 to get Cam Ward. I don't see Shador going any lower than 6 to Las Vegas, though. I think he's probably going to go top 5, top 6.
What about Travis Hunter?
He going top 5. He'll go probably to New England or Cleveland or somebody like that.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, he's a star, and he's not gonna play both sides of the ball fully, but he'll probably play mostly defense with some snaps on offense and special teams.
Yeah.
But it's some talent in the draft. There's definitely some talent in the draft. I think that somebody's gonna slip towards the Lions, kind of like how Terrion Arnold, who was expected to go top 10, top 15-ish last year, he started to slide. Brad Holmes jumped up several picks and went up and got him. I can see the same thing here. A lot of people are talking about Jahai Campbell, who's a pass rush out of Alabama.
Yep, that's who I got. Kind of.
Yeah, just a speed guy. Somebody that we talked about James Houston hopefully coming through and being one of those guys, and he never did. Campbell looks like more of a complete version of that, a guy that can actually do some of those things consistently. So he's a guy to look out for. Mike Green from Marshall is a name that's going around a lot as well. Another smaller, speedier guy. He's had some off the field concerns, which I think might take him off the Lions board. Nothing he's like gone to jail for, been charged with, but I just have heard very suspicious rumors. So they may stay away from him, but I'm sure they interviewed him at the combine. I'm sure they talked to him. So they may know how they feel about him. Maybe he is a decent player who just kind of got a bad rap. But I think one of them pass rushers, if you can phase them in with the Aiden Hutchinson, Zadarius Smith, some of the guys on the interior that they got, I think they could be an impact player. I do. And that can make a really big difference for the Lions. You could get more than one of those guys if you really want to, kind of like how the Lions double dipped at the corner position. So there's some interesting things out there. I think offensive line is something that the Lions need to be valuing because their offensive line is getting older. So they need to make some moves for some interior guys in particular.
So, question.
Yeah.
If you were Brad Holmes and you had to pick a draft pick, 28, who are you going with? You going with O-line or are you going with an edge rusher?
I think it depends on who's available on the board. I do. Because a lot of times O-linemen fall just because it's not the most valuable position. But for a team that run blocks as heavy as the Lions, having really good guards is extremely important. Having a quarterback like Jared Goff who cannot handle an interior pass rush, having good guards is extremely important. So I would take one of those guys if you feel like it's a guy that could be like a Zach Martin for the Cowboys who just retired. But when they drafted him, he could do a little bit of everything on the offensive line, 6-7-time All-Pro player, but you get him later in the first round just because of the position he plays. If you could get a stalwart like that, like a Ragnow, like a Sewell, not quite a Sewell. Sewell's an alien, but something close to that. I'm here for that too. I really am here for that. But I would love an edge at some point, whether it's free agency, whether it's the draft in the first 2 rounds. There's some really interesting corners in this draft. I don't think the Lions are going to go corner again that early, but there are some interesting corners. So it's a pretty deep draft. I can see the Lions going a lot of different ways, but I'd be surprised if they aren't picking the trenches the first 2 days.
I think if I was Brad Holmes, I would go with an edge rusher first. But speaking of the Detroit Lions offensive line, our average offensive line age is 29.2 years old. This draft, 2025 draft, is a bigger draft for the offensive linemen. There are a lot of good guys out there, so this is a bigger draft. I've been reading and watching some guys, things of that nature, but we already know who need the offensive line worse than us, Kansas City.
Oh,
Anyway,
boy.
that should be all they picks. But anyway, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if we go offensive line, but I think we should go edge rusher first. Jihad Campbell, definitely kind of more so called my what is he? Alabama, yeah, Alabama.
Yeah. Let me look
got-
at my stats. I forgot how many sacks he had last year.
What about Nick Scatton? I don't want to mispronounce his name. He's a guy that the Lions are rumored to be looking at too.
You know, I forget Campbell. So I was looking at his sack numbers. He actually played a lot of off-ball linebacker. So he didn't play a lot of pass rusher last year, but he did like blitz a lot. So he would be a guy that's kind of raw to the position as well. More used to playing like a typical linebacker role. But I still think it'll be interesting. I know Mike Green like piled up the sacks. I'm pretty sure he had like 15 sacks. Let me double check though. But
yeah, I mean this draft, but this draft, this 2025 draft, is a better draft for offensive linemen. So that's why I'm like, we can never have too much help up front. So I wouldn't be mad at that either. But with Anzalone's contract, he only having one more year, we may or may not be able to sign him. We may need to fill some stuff in on defense.
yeah, I feel good with getting off-ball linebackers like later in the draft too. Like we drafted Rodrigo in the 6th round. You can find those guys a little bit later, 3rd, 4th round. Just because again the value is a little bit lower. Mike Green has 17 sacks, by the way, last year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean he played at a smaller school, but still a D1 school. 17 sacks.
I ain't mad at it if we get him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a finisher. I'm biased too. I really do like Kenneth Grant from Michigan, but he's more of an interior guy. He can move around a lot. But Kenneth Grant would be fantastic. I don't think he's gonna drop to the Lions, but if he does, I'd be very happy with Kenneth Grant.
Question with the draft. Do you think we trade up 1st round to get somebody? Or are we staying at 28?
I think they do move up, but I think it'll be a small move up, like 3 or 4 picks maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think Brad Holmes is gonna trade up. I don't know
Yeah.
how far.
I think he's identified one of his guys that'll be a late 1st round guy, but he'll jump up to get him to make sure that he doesn't lose them. Like he loves his guys. I mean, he went up to get J-Mo. He went back up, I think, to get Jahmyr Gibbs, or we went back to get Jahmyr Gibbs, but he was fine with taking him at that spot, which is really early. Obviously went up to get Terrion. Like he finds his guys and he really likes them. Funny there, those were all Alabama guys too.
I know only Alabama.
So I mean, Campbell could be the guy. He could be the guy. He would be interesting for sure. It would bring a lot of juice to that room, just as a physical player, speedy player, like athletic guy, well coached, all that kind of stuff. So I'm here for it. But I'm here for any infusion of talent. I think anybody adds to this Lions team. But people got to realize whoever they draft may not be a day one starter. Probably won't. Like, how many guys can you see on the roster right now that are starting, like losing their jobs? Because I don't see many. Like, whose job is really to fill? You'll be a rotational player at best.
Yeah, I can't really think of none, especially offensively.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe one of the guards. That's it. I can't really see anybody getting very much replaced though on this Lions team right now. So people gotta have the right mindset, the right expectations. Don't think the Lions are going to take, some guy that's just going to come in and change the franchise. Like that's not what they need. They need somebody that can add to what they already do. And the pass rush clearly is what they can use the most of.
Yeah, that pass rush. Yeah, I would probably go there first, and then definitely maybe offensive line. I heard rumors also that could we use Hendon Hooker as maybe leverage to trade up with the team. So that could possibly be something. We might draft a backup quarterback.
I find that interesting how people like his value is so theoretical. We have no idea what other teams think about him because we barely know what the Lions think about him. So I struggle to attach him to any sort of value because other teams may be like, oh, he's really interesting. Or other teams may be like, we don't care about Hendon Hooker. They did say that the Lions met with Jalen Milroe, the quarterback from Alabama, but that obviously be more as a backup. And I wouldn't be surprised if a team took a shot on him in the first or second round, which the Lions are not doing.
Yeah. We'll see about the quarterback, but that was thrown out there too. But what day is the draft?
Should be late in April, I think.
Late April. Okay, so we will continue to clock rumors and watch some combines for you guys because I know you guys are like, we just want CB and King Key to tell us what's going on because y'all ain't got time to be looking at all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig deep into some of the combine draft boards. Some of the names are already big names, guys that are established though. A lot of guys didn't go do anything at the combine. Like the quarterbacks didn't throw, at least not the top two quarterbacks. There were some interesting guys who were throwing and doing different things. Some of the wide receivers ran some good times. Matthew Golden from Texas really raised his stock. He ran a high 4.2. He was also really productive at Texas later in the season. So it was a lot of interesting stuff going to the combine. A lot of interesting stuff per the usual. But I'll probably dig deep into that sometime within the next couple of weeks to see what we're really thinking. Maybe do some film study and see how we're feeling about guys. I really want to see what this Jahad Campbell looks like because I think he could be a very, very likely pick, if not a guard, to him for the Lions.
Yeah, I like him as a pick. I like him. So, yeah, we gonna more so see about rumors and things of that nature when it comes closer to the draft, people. We will.
For sure. Well, we can go ahead and wrap it up then. CB, you got anything else you want to chat about before?
Oh, just the last thing. We just want to do a little fun little spin for you. So, we got a lot of comments and all that opinions about who are your top 5 wide receiver duos of 2024. Top duos. We talking 2024. We talking last year only. We ain't talking totality because y'all got in y'all feelings. Minnesota, you got in your feelings, man.
Oh boy.
Want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. I think you're a little more prepared than I am.
Okay, so we got at 5. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Take it or leave it, they 5. Number 4, we got Tank Dell, Nico Katz.
Interesting, okay.
Interesting, okay? Number 3, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown of the home team, Detroit Lions. We got Jameson Williams. Number 3, take it or leave it. With number 3, I ain't dropping them no lower, man. Number 2, we got the Super Bowl champions, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Number 1, you already know I got number 1, man. I got to hand it to him. I got to hand it to them boys out in Ohio. Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. Who that Ja'Marr something? That Ja'Marr Chase something. I'm talking last year. Who you got?
I'm looking at it, and I really don't. I can't really disagree with any of your picks. I think Cincinnati is number 1, and I think Philly is number 2.
Yeah.
And looking at it, I'm like, I think Detroit probably makes the most sense.
Number 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you talking about last year, I think so.
Last year only.
Yeah, I think so. If we're talking about overall, I could see somebody taking Minnesota over us. But if you're talking about last year only, I thought that the Lions duo was a little more impressive. And then who else did you throw in there? Who was it that you threw in there?
Tank
Lamb?
Dell, Nico Collins.
Yeah, no, I'll put Tampa Bay above them.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Mike Evans is proven. And then you got Chris Godwin, who I really love. Chris Godwin, he's so underrated. He just
I
gets
believe he was injured though.
he gets hurt a lot, but I mean, I think as far as a
Well,
production,
Tank Dell, yeah, they had injuries too,
yeah, exactly. So
but their production was a little higher.
yeah,
Maybe not higher than Mike, but
I mean, if we talk about production, I also would like to throw out Seattle's duo as well, with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was really, really good this year. And DK Metcalf, who I do not like, but is a good football player.
I did play with them a little bit. I did have them on the list at first, but I'm like, nah. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell Song.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati is best though, and I think Philly is number 2. And I think our guys getting 1,000 yards both kind of. Everybody was like, "Oh, J-Mo, he not even like that." Like, he kind of is.
J-Mo is like that.
He kind of is. Like, relax.
He's like that.
Yeah. So, we'll see how the people react to that, or if they have some opinions on that. But yeah, I think Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Detroit is honestly a really good top 3.
That's a really good top 3. I missed it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, they don't come after us with their pitchforks again this time. I feel like that was reasonable. I feel like that was pretty reasonable.
We gonna see what Minnesota say about this because they ain't gonna like it. They ain't gonna. I know Seattle. They gonna be in their feelings too, but it's alright.
I get it. I understand why Minnesota fans be like that because Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football. So he does like elevate your group for sure. But
last year I feel a little bit more Jamar Chase was the best receiver in football.
I mean, Chase had a better year. I don't know if he was a better player. But
what Jamar Chase say? That shirt he wore, 7-Eleven, baby.
Yeah, he said he always open, and he is always open. He definitely helped my fantasy team a lot. Definitely.
Watch out for that duo in Jacksonville, though. Them young boys.
Oh yeah, Brian Thomas is insane. He was so good last year. So good. Also, I'm sure speaking of Florida, Miami fans also is gonna be like, what about Tyreek?
Not last year, Ty. No. Not last year.
Them boys gotta find a quarterback. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah, they gotta find a quarterback.
I'm not the biggest Tua guy, but to each his own. To each his own. We'll see what the people say. But I think that J-Mo kind of elevated us to deserving that. Like he proved himself last year. He shut the people up. Mind you, he missed a couple games too and still put up 1,000 yards.
Oh yeah.
So
like 58 receptions. That's correct. That's a bar.
Yeah, like going crazy, like doing a little bit of everything. Any block.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, we're going to wrap this thing up.
All right, y'all. Well, yeah, we'll be back again next week with another episode. But appreciate y'all for always checking us out, rocking with us. Continue to follow, like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, share, do whatever. Get with us. But take it away, CB.
All right, it's CB closing you out. You can follow us. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube. So I don't want to hear no excuses, man. I don't want to hear no excuses. You follow us, you watch us, you listen to us, all right? But yeah, we will see you probably next week, week after next with rumors, draft, all that. CB, peace.